Some people really need a female in their life because they need that kind of stability and direction and motivation. I'm not that guy. I do not need a woman to tell me to go work. I do not need her to tell me to put the video games down. I do not need to be cooked for and mothered. Like, it's nice if she does, but I'll survive. I did all this myself. I'll be okay. Like, the menial tasks you complete, I can hire somebody to do. It's not a big deal. I absolutely believe in love. I believe in family. I believe having kids is an amazing thing. But does that mean I'm ever going to live the completely traditional, I'm at home, wife says come home? That's never going to happen. That's not who I am as a man. If I have a woman who I love with all my heart and we have children, I'm still going to be out till whenever the fuck I'm out. I might be gone for 2 weeks. I'm out. See ya. See you in 2 weeks. And if during those 2 weeks I meet a big booty cute, whatever, it is what it is. Doesn't mean I don't love my woman at home. Doesn't mean I'm not going to come back to her. But I'm just true to my instinct as a man. I don't think I should apologize for it. I think a lot of people are socially conditioned to apologize for things. That's not me. Because everyone pretends they give a fuck, but nobody does. Especially women. I know I get attacked for women, but women truly don't give a fuck. If you ask a woman the kind of man she wants, she will never say depressed or sad. Ever. She wants a man who is ultra capable, ultra competent. I've literally had women say to me, you know what I love being around you? I'm like, what? I don't have to think. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I just turn up and like, we just walk in the hotel and everyone, staff do anything we want and the jet's just on the runway and we just land and I'm in this beautiful place and I don't even know where I am and I get to just turn my brain off and it's great. Like, they want someone who is fun and spontaneous and charismatic and successful. They don't have time for sad dudes. They don't care. So the world doesn't care. The world has never given a shit about sad men. So if you're gonna sit there and self-diagnose yourself as a sad man, you're gonna have a shit life and nobody's ever gonna give a fuck and you're gonna perpetually lose forever. And that is your decision. I am so scared of being that person. The idea of that terrifies me to the point where I don't even want to accept that as a reality that can possibly exist. I don't give a shit what happens to me in my life. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if the worst, most heinous things I could possibly imagine happen to me. I know that my sadness, my depression will be temporary because I will never stay a loser. It is against my creed. It's not in my DNA. Anything in the world that makes you happy that you currently have, whether it's a person, whether it's a job, whether it's a scenario, whatever it is, also has the exact inverse capability to make you extremely angry. So you have to accept this about
You're
life.
quite detached, man. You're quite detached from everything that you also own. You say you love it, but at the same time, you're okay with letting go.
Well, that's because I think I have confidence in myself to get it all back. And that's also because I have quite a lot of emotional control. And then perhaps, maybe I'm a little bit of a sadist, I don't know. But when bad things happen to me,
You love it.
I kind of enjoy it. And I think that maybe it's perhaps I just enjoy it for the story. Perhaps my whole life is not about trying to find comfort, it's trying to find challenges, and it's trying to find stories. I'll be very honest with you. Even in jail, my brother and I kept saying this is probably the best story, one of our best ever stories. That's what life is about to me. And if you were to say to me right now, Andrew, do you want to spend a year living in comfort and flying around the world and sleeping with girls and doing whatever, or do you want to spend a year in a jail in Mongolia? I'd probably choose the jail. I had real jobs and I did real things and I was really broke and I was really on the bus and really trying to pay rent and doing real stuff for a long time.
I wrote a line in here and I think you could relate to it. A poor man is broke, a rich man is broken. So if you're broke, you could figure out a way to be rich. But if you were given everything and you don't know how to manage this life, you're broken and you don't feel like you've earned anything. I've met more depressed rich men than I've met depressed broke men.
It's amazing you say that because there's two answers to that. My first one is, I love that you say that because I always say, I'm not rich. I'm a poor man with a lot of money. I always used to say that. And I don't want to brag or anything, but just because I get asked this question a lot. I've been extremely successful. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. In fact, I think our last valuation across everything we own we're almost at B now. So we're doing very, very, I'm a billionaire. Top G's a billionaire. So we're doing extremely well. That's the first thing. The second thing, it's great that you say that because I completely agree. Because if you're born with everything, if you're born with all this money, that you have no aspiration, nothing to actually grasp onto and trying to achieve, then money doesn't make you happy. Chess teaches you that if you lose, at some point you made a mistake. It doesn't matter if it's the smallest mistake. It doesn't matter if you just took too long to think to make the right move and you ran out of time on the clock. At some point you fucked up for you to lose that game. It's 100% accountability with no luck. That's what's so important about learning chess. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, you need to, as a man, adopt the mindset that absolutely everything that happens to you is completely and utterly your fault, whether it's good or bad. And most men don't have that. Most men don't have that. When the Matrix was attacking me and they were destroying me, when they're calling up my exes trying to get fake fucking charges on me and put me in jail, when they close my bank accounts and I use $10-11 million, when they ban me across all social medias and lie about me, when they harass my family, I'm sitting there going, this is my fault. All of this is me. I got here. It's my fault. I'm not going, that was unfair. It was orchestrated. The NGOs worked against me. Because that is not helpful.
So it's accountability.
It's 100% accountability in all things. But also, when I go out there and I start the Bugatti, it's like, that's me. This is my fault. The car is my fault, and the big house is my fault, and everything that ever goes wrong is my
Successes
fault.
and the failures.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to take complete and utter accountability for everything. They try and convince you, don't worry if you're being a loser, because people feel sorry for you and you'll get attention for it and you'll be okay in the end. And it's all this temporary fixes of dopamine by saying, I'm sad, don't worry, bro, you'll be okay. But it's bullshit. They don't care long term. The world doesn't care. Nobody really cares. Chicks don't care. Business doesn't care. You are going to fail. That's
It
what's
even
gonna
happens in schools now, doesn't it? Everyone gets a prize.
No, it's garbage.
Of course it's garbage.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You've got to have winners, you've got to have losers. You have to lose to know how to win.
It's true, and the natural state of man is a competitive state of man. Men have always been competing with each other. Even now, right now, we compete with each other. I don't buy Ferraris to drive fast. I do sometimes, but if I'm in London traffic, it's not to go quick.
No.
It's to show everyone else, I'm richer than them. That's what it is. It's a never-ending competition. I don't wear a big diamond Patek with fucking $500,000 to tell the time. I tell the time on my phone. I do it because I'm loaded. Life as a man is shit. It's always been shit. It's never been good. When men wake up and say, I'm depressed and life is hard and I'm sad and I'm struggling right now, I say, okay, throughout history, men have always struggled. Happiness is for children and women. Name a time in history it was better to be a man. Was it better to be a man in World War II? Was it better to be a man on the Titanic? Was it better to be a man in the Napoleonic Wars? Was it better to be a man when you were sitting in Vienna and the Mongol horde arrived, ready to decapitate any male and enslave all the females? When's it ever been good to be a man? Building the pyramids, was that fun? It's always sucked. The only time being a man ever is good is if you become an exceptional man, which is even something feminists admit. Because feminists sit and complain about men and say, well, men have this, men have that. But they're talking about 2% of men.
Fascinating.
They don't talk about all men. If you're a man in the middle and you don't have the light yet, often you'll find the light by jumping into the dark.
Yep.
What does Newton say? They're equal and opposite force. The deeper you go, if we imagine, let's imagine the yin and the yang. Let's imagine there's the line in the middle and you have the light and you have the dark underneath it. If you're standing in the middle, the deeper you'll dive into the dark, it's like coiling a spring. The higher you'll bounce back into the light.
This is what's happening right now.
Exactly. And this is also why I became successful in the first place, because I've always been capable of fighting and going through pain and dedicating myself and doing difficult things and having hard things happen to me and being emotionally regulated. So perhaps what's so interesting about it is even if I want the dark, no matter how deep I dive into it, no matter how much mess I try and get myself in, I'm just going to end up springing back and having more fans and more followers and more people talking about me and more social media.
Bro,
and
it's
more
the
money. You can't make excuses ever.
Yeah.
There's never an excuse. And you're right. People try and put things on the outwards on the outside. It's interesting. I remember watching Forrest Gump about 5 years ago. I was on a plane. I can't remember where I was flying. And the beginning of Forrest Gump has a scene in it, which I don't think many people actually have ever analyzed or anticipated or understood what the scene means. But when he's sitting on the bench at the beginning, think about Forrest Gump. He's sitting on the bench at the beginning and there's a feather
Yeah, you
blowing.
nailed this
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And then it lands on him and the movie begins.
Yeah.
What they're saying with that is Forrest is the feather and life has just pushed him all over and put him in all these unusual scenarios. Life has directed him everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying.
Sure.
And if you're going to be the guy and you're going to allow life to happen to you and you're not going to happen to life, then you're at mercy of the wind. Perhaps it might work out okay, but it might not, right? So you have to be the guy who goes, okay, the wind's blowing in this direction. Fuck them. I'm doing this. You have to come to life. You can't let life come to you, because if you let life come to you, then you're going to be living inside of a matrix and a system which is designed not for you to live your best life. 99% of what men do is for status. We want to be in good shape for status. We want the fast car for status. We want the nice house for status. We want the diamond watch. We want the hot girl. This is all for our status. Look at me. I'm the big dog. This is how we compete with each other. If you're going to be a dude who pretends that's not true, or be a dude who doesn't want to compete, your life's going to fucking suck. That's the reality.
Do you feel like sport drilled this mentality into you? Because I used to be a competitive swimmer. I was always competing, trying to be the best, and my dad used to compete with radio-controlled models.
Yep.
How about you?
Well, that's it. What is sport? Sport is just watered down versions of war.
Yeah.
This is what men have always done. We've
Friendly war.
Completely. We've evolved to be in battle with each other to some regard. And if you
And they wonder why fans get so emotional as well, because they're also at war with the other fans, aren't they?
completely.
You know, and that's going to kick off at some point.
Exactly. And you look at the entire planet throughout history, There are ideas which are universal. These are not ideas that could have possibly spread or shared because of the distances involved. It was a universal idea for the Mongols and the Chinese to fight each other, and the Aztecs and whoever else to fight each other, and the tribes in Africa to fight each other. The Europeans, the French, and the English were fighting each other. Humans have always done this. It's just like, no, I'm the boss. No, I'm the boss. So, okay, then let's find out who's the boss. And now we live in a world where I think that status is the new form of combat, and the true expression of testosterone is showing you can move the world with money.